Hello and welcome to
Dusty VCR!
The podcast where we rewatch old movies from our childhood and decide whether they still hold up. I'm your host, Michael Lynch, and I'm joined by my co-host and sister, Rachel Lynch. Rachel, how are you?
I'm great. It's summer and I've been swimming a lot. I swam at least 4 times this week.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it. There's so many great swimming holes around here. But the problem is that at all these places is my arch nemesis.
Oh, who is your arch nemesis?
Dogs' mouths.
Oh.
Dogs' wet, disgusting mouths.
They swim with you?
They're just everywhere. They just show up and they have their wet, disgusting, filthy mouths full of dirt.
Just the mouths detached from the dogs.
Yeah, no, I like dogs. I do. I like dogs. I don't like the mouths of certain dogs that are filthy and sloppy and wet and gross.
But how does that affect you when you're swimming?
Well, I'm not necessarily swimming. It might be that I'm relaxing on the shore. Which is what I was doing when Larry walked up to me. Dog named Larry walked up to me with his wet, sloppy beard.
Ooh.
He had a beard on. It was one of those dogs, he had like long chin hairs, know,
an
and
older fella.
He was an older fella. An older feller.
Older yeller.
And he came over and he slopped his beard all around me. And then the owners were like, "Oh, so sorry. Oh, Larry, you come here, Larry." And they had like these professional vests on this dog. It was like a fancy vest.
It's like a model dog.
Yeah, it had bells on it. This dog was running around with bells. And the whole time after that, I'm just like trying to relax on the shore. And I could hear them hiking all around. Larry! Hey, Larry, come here. Larry, no, Larry, come. And then at a certain point, I see Larry's in the water. He's just swimming, enjoying a wonderful swim, going round and round and round. And they're just Larry, hey, come, Larry, no, Larry, come here, Larry, over and over again.
So the interesting part about that story is the dog's mouth never really came into play.
No, it did. It came in and it disrupted me.
Well, the chin kind of.
Well, it was the mouth that produces the wet.
The mouth that produces the chin.
The chin and the disgusting.
But it's really the owner's mouth. The yelling from the owners.
Well, the owner's mouths were certainly disturbing during this time. But in the end, I felt that Larry won.
Right.
Because he was enjoying a good swim, and his owners were helpless.
Right.
He was really enjoying himself. You could see he was having a great time. They just kept yelling. They never gave up.
Larry 1, Rachel 0.
And we are joined by our friend and co-host, Zena Dreyfuss. Zena, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
And we are also joined by our guest, Chris Lund, our friend Chris Lund.
Glad to be here.
Yeah?
Happy to be
here.
Are you sure?
Positive.
How happy?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 12.
So Rachel, before you came, was hoping that you'd be very nervous because she thought that would translate into a better podcast experience.
I just pissed myself.
Oh, good.
But it looks like this upholstery is non-porous, so
it'll just stay on you.
A quick wipe for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So was your history with movies growing up?
When I think about movies growing up, I think about Astro Video in Holyoke, and the mysterious, downstairs that led to the adult section.
Oh,
but it just going around, taking a look at the different covers, and maybe picking 1 or 2 out, watching them.
Would you go on your own or with with a friend, family?
At that point, I mean, most of my memories is usually with like I attach those memories. I think about me going with my dad to Astro Video. So we would go browse, and it's a whole new world out there.
Was your family really into movies?
Not that I remember. It wasn't. There were. We had a modest collection of VHS, but nothing. It wasn't anything to write home about.
Right.
But mostly a lot of Disney movies, Lion King and stuff like that. But Wizard of, just the classics. We weren't movie fiends, or anything like that.
Right.
But I love movies now. So it's something that grew on me.
Was it mostly home videos, or would you go to the theater too?
Oh, well, actually, we watched a lot of home movies, but it was really the same one over and over again. My grandfather loved to record things, and there was this one VHS that he had recorded on, and we watched it a lot of times, and the main things I remember being on it was the 70th Annual Academy Awards.
Oh, okay.
So I like it when people ask me trivia questions about the 70th Annual Academy Awards because
What year was that?
Okay, so it was aired in 1998, but the movies awarded were movies that came out in 1997.
Okay.
There was also footage from the Oklahoma City bombing on the tape.
Oh, what awards did that win?
The Oklahoma City, the terrorist of the year, I guess.
Wait, who won Best Picture at that Oscars?
That was Titanic, and it also tied Ben-Hur with 11 Oscar wins.
Oh, okay.
It tied Ben-Hur?
Yes.
I don't even know
Charlton
what the
Heston,
fuck
by the way.
Ben-Hur is.
From these cold dead hands.
Chris is
Ben-Hur
drinking seltzer and
is a
keeping it in
movie
his mouth.
about that takes place largely in the Colosseum. Ben-Hur is a slave, and he had I think it's a lot like Gladiator. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've never
There's
seen
chariot races.
Yeah,
right?
I've never seen it the whole way through. But
Yeah.
then also the other thing that he recorded that we rewatched a lot was the Olympics with the whole Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh, that's
And we
exciting.
would just laugh like time again because Tanya Harding started to cry when her shoelace, her ice skate lace was fucking up, and there was the Atlanta City bombings on there too.
Atlanta City bombing too.
But I think what we watched the most was the 70th Annual Academy Awards because they had the best picture montage I've ever seen, and I it took me such a long time to find it on YouTube, but I did.
Who was the host?
The host happened to be, and he had hosted it many times before, Billy Crystal.
Oh.
Also nominated that year were for Best Picture. It was Titanic. It was a good year for good movies. Actually, I think Titanic was the weakest link, but anyways, that's how the Academy works.
Yeah.
But it was also Good Will Hunting, The Full Monty, L.A. Confidential, and As Good as It Gets.
Oh, yeah,
wow,
that was a really good year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good year.
Packed.
Good year for But, I mean, out of those five, what do you think? What do you think should have won?
Titanic.
Really?
Yeah, I think Titanic. It's just such an epic movie.
I didn't know you were such a big fan.
I'm a huge Titanic fan. I watch it every day. No, I would say
That's why you have that cardboard James Cameron cutout
Yeah.
on there. Okay.
I really do think Titanic, just for the scale of it and how impressive everything was.
It was
I don't
impressive.
remember
It was very impressive. I saw it 3 times in theaters.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I just remember it was 2 VHS tapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
If you go to like a thrift store,
Double whammy.
that's one of the most common VHSs that they have.
Yeah.
Mm.
What would you guys put? Which would you pick from that year?
I don't remember all those movies.
Oh, the other one I would like is As Good as It Gets. I liked As Good as It Gets.
I don't think I remember any of them enough to be able to pick which one I would give Best Picture.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't actually remember which ones you said. I think it maybe saw none of them except the Titanic.
Well, then you've got 4 great movies to add to your movie list.
So, Chris, have movies ever been a big milestone in your life? Like, do you have like a first date that you took somebody to see a movie, or like any kind of strong associations with any particular movie?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are certain movies that I, attach to stories. There was, I remember the first, movie I saw in theaters that was rated R, that was, it was starring Tim Robbins and,
Nothing to Lose?
yes.
Ah,
Yep,
nice.
that was the first one I saw. And at the time,
Was
I thought that was hilarious.
first movie you saw in theaters?
First rated R movie I saw in theaters.
Oh, okay.
Like, did you sneak in or did you go with your parents?
I went with my dad.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other big movie memory that comes up, there was like a movie date and I forgot to bring any money.
Oh.
And
how'd that go over?
Well, I played it off in a way that was obviously playing it off. And we laugh about it now. I'm still in communication with the person.
You guys are still together?
No, but we know each other still.
Broke up immediately after.
Yeah. I think I said I don't have like I said
Any money.
No, I said something. I said something about breaking change or something.
You
I
didn't
don't
want to
know.
break a 20, so you couldn't pay for the movie.
It was something like that.
That's so much worse than you're just telling the truth.
And that's often how things play out. But the other thing with my dad, though, is so
Like in your life?
with movies. The other thing you should know about my dad is that no. So I like all kinds of movies. I like horror movies a lot. The movie that scared me the most was The Sixth Sense. Anyways, and I had seen that with my dad in theaters. And he told a colleague of his at work. I'm trying to remember how old I was. I think that came out in
I think
99,
it was
I think.
99.
Yeah, I think so. So, a colleague of his at work that he was talking to said, "Oh, you and your son like to watch scary movies together." Without telling, my dad didn't know anything about it. Without telling my dad anything about it, they said, this guy maybe he didn't know how old I was. He recommended The Last House on the Left, the original.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Don't. It's one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen. It was banned in many countries.
Oh.
So, but my dad doesn't know this at all. So he thinks that we're watching something along the lines of Sixth Sense or something like that. And so we pop it in and we're watching it. I mean, there are it's graphic, and so we're watching this, and I forget how old I was, but I mean, you're always too young to watch that movie, but I really was. And I remember halfway through, he turned to me and he said, "Chris, do you want me to shut this off?" And I'm a kind of, all or nothing type of guy. Still am. So I said, "What? Not at this point." Mm-hmm. And it just got worse. Mm. I wish we had turned it off.
Yeah, our dad had a tendency to, like, if he was allowed to go to the video store by himself, he would often pick movies that were just, like, totally ridiculous. So there are a few that I remember. I think his, like, the most notorious one is he brought back Exit to Eden, which was a comedy with, I think, Rosie O'Donnell and somebody else, where they have to go undercover at a BDSM resort. And so, like, 5 minutes into the movie, like, there's somebody, like, they make somebody, like, be a human chair, and the woman, like, takes off her underwear and sits on him. And our parents are like, maybe not.
Oh, man.
Well, Chris, what is your history with comedy?
I mean, I did do a stand-up one time at the Yellow Sofa Cafe in Northampton. I think I told you guys about that. And there was another time when it was a larger group, but most of them I was familiar with or friends with. I think they were being pretty objective. I like to think so. But and I just recently, and you guys all know this, started going to Luthier's comedy night.
Oh yeah,
Rachel, told me about it. She said, you should come by and join us, and I think I've gone like 3 months in a row. I have a blast. A lot of really funny people, great personalities.
Shout out to Matt Woodland, host of Luthier's Comedy Night.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite. He's maybe my favorite part of the whole thing, because I think the bits that he does in between, are just really funny guy. He's just
good friend of the show.
Great stage presence.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
Hey.
Hey, Matt.
Oh
Saw you at TIG.
So I'm looking forward to the first Tuesday of August.
Yeah.
Working on a little something myself, but we'll see where that goes. Yeah.
So do you think you're going to perform in August?
I don't think so. I mean, I got to get down. I got to really sit down and put the, what do you put to the grindstone?
Nose.
Yeah, put the notes to the grindstone.
Yeah.
So
do you want to try any of your material out today?
I haven't really rehearsed it, but I did. Sorry, if I should have brought maybe a little bit, but I don't have anything that I'm really. I think I'm too nervous right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm shaking.
Okay.
You can't hear shaking. Oh, maybe you can.
All right. So should we get into it?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
So today we're discussing the 1991 movie The Addams Family, starring Anjelica Huston, Raul Julia, Christopher Lloyd, and Christina Ricci. So I'll start with Rachel. Did you have any memories of this movie before you watched it?
Not at all. I don't know that I ever saw this movie.
Oh, okay.
The only thing, I mean, I knew the da-da-da-da,
Oh, yeah.
da-da-da-da.
Right.
So I knew that.
Yeah. That's
And
pretty much
then-
all you need to know.
And I knew, like, the general, I knew the characters.
Yeah.
I knew the general vibe of the movie.
Right. And Xena, how about you?
I had seen it when I was a kid. I think I watched it with my family. I have a vague memory of watching it with my family in the living room, like a home movie night,
Yeah.
But I don't remember what really happened in it.
Right.
Just like the characters and
Right.
and the theme song. So, despite the fact I've seen it, I remember just about the same amount as Rachel.
Right. And Chris, so this is a pick from you.
Sure, yeah.
So did you have any special memory of this movie, or
It's
strong
funny
association?
because and it's somewhere in my I don't have a very vivid memory of it, but I knew that I had seen it as I watched it. Like there was a familiarity to it. Not that I remember that line or that, but anyway, the funny thing was that I kept waiting for the one scene that I did remember, and it never came. And I think it's because maybe they made a sequel.
Yeah.
We did.
I was waiting for a scene where somebody's being like circled like a pig roast. and
Oh yeah, I
spit.
remember that at the summer
And-
camp.
Yep, and
Yeah.
and then it never came.
Yeah.
But I mean, until the sequel.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters, and I was 6 when it came out, and I remember being impressed by the hand. So there's the character Thing is just a disembodied hand that runs around, and I remember, like, even that at that age, kind of wondering how they did it. Like, I sort of understood how special effects work, and even watching it now, I was still impressed.
It
I
was
like,
pretty impressive.
yeah, I was like, that really holds up. I'm not even really sure how they did it, because you can just, it wasn't just a matter of like green screening out the arm, because you can see the top of the hand.
I wonder
Right.
if they
Did
use
you
the same
Google
thing.
it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I
What?
didn't look it up. I forgot.
Oh my gosh.
You
I
look
thought
up
that was against the
everything.
rules.
The other thing I remembered was secret passageways, like when they like go into the
Yes.
bookshelf. I've always loved that. I don't know if this is the movie that made me think that that's really cool, but I remember liking that. And the last thing I remember, I had a similar thing. I was worried that this wasn't actually going to be in the movie, but I remember the scene where they're at the lemonade stand and that girl comes over and tries to sell them Girl Scout cookies, and she's being annoying about asking them if the lemonade is real lemons. And Christina Ricci is like, "You have Girl Scout cookies. Are they made from real Girl Scouts?"
That's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, I remember really liking that line as a kid.
Yeah.
That seemed like a funny scene to me because she's asking, like, oh, are those like natural, organic
Right.
lemons,
Right.
And what else does she say? She says more about it.
Yeah, it feels like very
It feels
recent.
very recent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, did people care about organic at that time?
But even just that's a joke that like pretentious people
Right.
would care about, like
Yeah.
organic.
I
Yeah.
was surprised. Yeah, that stood out to me too. You know what was strange, and I'm just thinking about this now. On my way home, I pulled over here and there so I could complete the game. I played Two Truths and a Lie with this girl on a dating app, and this really happened. And
Was it today?
no, this was on the way home from watching Addams Family.
When you were a
pulled
kid?
No, yesterday.
Oh.
Yesterday.
He came over and watched it with us.
And I'm just realizing like why, because so my Two Truths and a Lie were
Did you really pull over several times to do this?
just twice. Well, maybe
Wait, how long was this drive? Why couldn't you have
It's
just
like-
done it when you go home?
15 minutes.
I wanted to be timely in my responses. Well, maybe just I know it was the gas station, and then it was the Cumberland Farms, I think.
Wait,
and
is this one of the two truths?
Oh
and a lie?
no! That's just where I pulled over. Anyway, I'm just realizing the Two Truths and Lies were I've never been to Canada, I haven't worn socks in over 2 weeks, and I run a professional lemonade stand for extra money. And at the time when I included that in there, which happens to be the lie, I didn't realize why I thought of that, and now I'm thinking maybe it was because
You got Inception.
I just saw, yeah.
Yeah. Let's do the reveal. So, do we think that holds up? Let's start with Chris.
I don't have a clear enough memory of what my opinion of the movie was back then, but I wasn't thrilled.
Yeah.
I wasn't thrilled.
Okay. What were you disappointed by?
Well, and I don't know why. Maybe it was how good the ice cream was. Maybe, but I had trouble following parts of it, to be honest with you.
Oh.
I think I missed something at the very beginning. It also just there wasn't as many of those lemonade stand quality scenes as I would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was an impressive cast.
Yeah.
Star-studded.
Right.
It's not something I'd watch again tonight.
Sure.
Maybe tomorrow night.
Yeah. Zena, what about you?
I thought it definitely held up. I liked it a lot. I think I would have liked it more had I been watching it around Halloween time.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's kind of spooky.
Yeah.
But as we were watching it, I did vaguely remember that, it was about cousin Fester or brother Fester, like, coming home.
Yeah.
But I had forgotten that the whole movie, the plot, was based on a scam. And I love scams.
Yeah.
It's one big scam. So,
Right.
yeah.
It's actually several different scams they run throughout the movie.
Really?
Well,
Very multi-layered. It's a complex film.
yeah, I mean, they have the fake Fester, but then they also use the judge to manipulate the law to get the house.
Right.
That's true. Yeah,
Scammed.
Scammed.
Yeah.
And Rachel, what about you?
I thought it was great.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I liked it. I love movies
Yeah,
that
you do.
just have... I love movies that have that kind of feel to them.
Yeah.
That are just a little dark and weird and
Right.
and quirky.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm, again, like the downer on this. I thought it was okay. Like,
You haven't liked a movie in years.
yeah, that's true.
You haven't liked a movie since Multiplicity.
Is that true?
No, you liked My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, I did like My Cousin
Great
Vinny.
movie.
But you didn't like it as much as you thought you would or something,
I like
right?
Being John Malkovich. I liked the last movie we did.
Oh, yeah. But you didn't like it as much as you thought you would.
Yeah, I think I liked My Cousin Vinny as much as I thought I would, though.
You did?
I think so.
You did?
Are you sure? So I love the first 10 minutes. I love the introduction to the family and like seeing all of that. I felt bored toward a lot of the middle where you're just kind of like waiting for whatever, like the conflict to resolve. And then I enjoyed the end, but I definitely got bored at parts.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, with what you were saying about it being hard to follow, I feel like when we have rewatched a lot of these older movies, it's so hard to really hear them correctly because a lot of times they have, like, the music is really loud and the talking is really quiet.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know if they just didn't level things out at that time or what, but
Right.
we had it on pretty loud.
I put it up
Oh, yeah.
3 notches.
Oh, yeah. And it just was, it was hard to hear.
I think that's very validating because I felt insecure about having trouble following it. So thank you.
Well, I was thinking back to the last episode where you were talking about like not really paying attention to the words in movies. Because I remember seeing it when I was a kid and not really understanding what the situation was with the fake Fester.
Sure. It's
like,
kind of confusing. I felt like, oh, I'm glad I caught that because I
Right.
almost missed it.
Right. Yeah, I remember like not understanding that. Like I understood the fake Fester was trying to steal money, but I didn't understand that like who they were trying to make him out to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And they reveal it so briefly at the end what the actual thing is.
Yeah. So yeah, let's let's do this in order. So we're introduced to the family. They live in this kind of like a haunted man. Like I agree with you about just enjoying the style and the aesthetic. Like that was so fun. And there's nothing really like this. Like it's a little bit like a haunted house, but there's so many weird elements to it.
To me, it feels very similar to like
Beetlejuice.
Well, it feels really similar to like a lot of Tim Burton stuff. Is this a Tim Burton movie? No, but it feels similar to a lot of Tim Burton movies. Like I was thinking of Nightmare Before Christmas or Edward Scissorhands. I think movies like that are so fun. And I was trying to think while we were watching it, why is that so fun? And like, what do I love about that?
Yeah.
And I think the thing that's so fun about it is that it's like introducing these really scary kind of things as something playful
Right.
and like enjoyable.
Right. The other thing I really enjoyed just right from the start is how much fun it seems like everybody's having.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Anjelica Huston does a lot of comedies. Like, I think she's more known for like high class movies. And so just seeing her get to be so silly and
Who's that? Tish?
Anjelica, yeah, Morticia. And I loved Raul Julia. Yeah, Gomez. Like, just his expressions alone, he always seems so excited about everything. And like, just so, every character that he encounters, he's just so delighted to be talking to them.
Right.
And oh, he was great. Christina Ricci was adorable. Like, I forgot how cute Christina Ricci is.
So cute.
Great braids.
I remembered her as like a 14 or 15-year-old.
Yeah, same.
But she's much smaller than I remember.
She's
She's
a wee
like
one.
7.
I thought she was. I think she was 10 or 11 when it came out.
Oh,
So maybe
really?
she was
Okay.
like 9 or 10 when they filmed it.
Okay.
But yeah, she looks smaller. She looks really small.
What a big head she's got.
Yeah.
That's in my note.
Giant noggin.
Where's that?
She's just so adorable. And like, she's just so good at delivering these deadpan lines where,
She's so good at just being like this sort of cynical little girl that's
Right.
like, she knows what's up.
Right.
And she doesn't give a shit about
Right.
what anybody else is doing.
right. So we meet everybody in the family, and we find out that the father is sad that he's can't find his estranged brother Fester, and it turns out their lawyer, who's the lawyer from Clueless, also. I think it's the same universe as Clueless.
Yeah.
He's just become a better lawyer by the time Clueless happened.
Well, it's the father slash
The father,
lawyer.
and he's a lawyer. Yeah,
He's a lawyer
Yeah.
slash father.
lawyer slash father. So it turns out he has money problems. He owes money to these loan sharks, and he hatches this plan with them to take Christopher Lloyd and have him pose as Fester because he just so happens to look exactly like Gomez's estranged brother.
Right. And where does he just, how did he figure that out? That
Well,
was
he had a
weird.
picture. Yeah, I don't know why he never made the connection before. It's like these two people who look super bizarre and nobody else looks like them.
Right.
Hey, they kind of look similar.
Yeah. Also, like, Fester is just such a weird guy.
Right. Although I did like that they keep on claiming that he was so handsome. Like, they just always are saying, like, oh, all the women loved you. And, like, that's what their conflict was about.
Oh,
that Gomez
is
was
that
so
what that
jealous
was?
that all the
Wow.
women loved Fester.
Flora and fauna.
Flora and fauna. I wanted to know, Michael, what do you think about that as rich kid twin names?
Oh, no, I think it's too jokey.
Too
So Rachel and I are, I guess me,
Mainly
are you also?
I just like to do it for you.
Yeah, I'm on a long quest to come up with good rich kid names for... They don't necessarily have to be twins, but twins helps.
Twins makes for some interesting names,
Yeah. So I think one of your best suggestions was Harper and Hadley.
which wasn't
Oh,
even my
gosh.
suggestion. That was
Oh.
that was Dina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the best I've seen is, what are those two musician girls?
Mary Kate and Ashley.
Tegan and Sarah.
No, Lennon and Maisie. Lennon and Maisie are
Lennon
very
and
good rich
Maisie.
kid names.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting back to it. So what did you guys think of Gordon / Fester? It's Christopher Lloyd.
I thought did a good job.
Yeah.
Had to put on a few pounds, I imagine. You know.
Yeah, I thought he was a wonderful weirdo. He did look, I imagine, quite stuffy in that coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys all like it. I think he was my least favorite part of the movie.
Oh wow.
For most of it. Because I thought it didn't make any sense that he starts off so weird and he's supposed to infiltrate the Addams family. Like, I feel like it would have been funny if he's more normal. Like, if he's just a regular scam artist and he has to infiltrate this family that's super weird. But, like,
No,
he
'cause-
is super weird.
Yeah, because that's why it works so well. Because he's super weird, and he gets into this family, and he's like, "I'm gonna like take over and all this stuff, and
Right.
I'm gonna do this scam." And then it turns out he's like, "Wait a second, these people are weird like me."
They're not really weird like him, though.
The thing about him is that
But they accept him for all his weirdness, and they love
Yeah.
him for it.
But that could have worked if he was like... I feel like it didn't really work. There wasn't like the contrast. My favorite parts of the movie was seeing the Addams interact with people who are not the Addams family. Like, I liked seeing him interact with his lawyer or the teachers at school or
Sure.
people in the real world. So, yeah, the fact that Fester was already weird, I was
he
like...
was a lost boy. He was a lost
boy.
soul.
Yeah.
I thought he got nervous way too easy, way too early on. Like, he was no Donnie Brasco, that's for sure. Like, he looked like he was going to break under pressure, every single scene.
Traumatized little soul.
Yeah.
He was kidnapped by this woman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm giving away the end. He was kidnapped.
Well,
by
they say
this
that from
woman.
the beginning that she found him in a tuna fishing net.
Tuna fish net.
Yeah.
Oh, tuna fish can.
So she comes with him to, like, he comes to the house and says, like, I'm Fester, and they're like,
Right.
oh my gosh, like, this is great. And you can tell, like, the rest of the family is suspicious, but Gomez is so happy to have his brother back that he quickly cuts him.
Why did she
Love is blind.
not think of this scam earlier? Because did she know that that's the family? No.
Oh, she kind of knows the Addams. I think she just didn't know that they were missing a brother. Everybody in the neighborhood seems vaguely aware of the Addams, though.
Okay.
And so that we have the fake Fester infiltrates the family, and then his mother comes to the house also as a German doctor, Dr. Pinderschloss. Did this remind anybody of anything?
Dr. Pinderschloss.
It's the same thing that happens in Kindergarten Cop. Like, the partner shows up and does a German accent
yeah.
for the fun of doing a German accent. Like, she's irrelevant to the plan.
Right. The fact that she's German has nothing to do with that.
Right. And she doesn't need to be there at all. She's
Right.
just, like, hanging out at the house.
Right.
And they're like, oh, he can only be here for a week. I was like, why? Like, just tell them he can be there permanently so they trust him more.
That's true. Yeah.
So that was a little bit silly.
Loose ends.
Yeah, then we see Fester, like, Gomez shows him the room with the treasure, and to Gomez, it's just a room with,
Where they
like,
hang out.
yeah.
Had good times.
Yeah.
I think that's the same thing that happens in Richie Rich.
Oh, I don't remember.
That
Like-
was Sinbad?
No.
That was
That's
blank check.
first kid.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I think in Richie Rich, the entire time these people are trying to, like, break into the Richie Rich vault, and they finally do at the end, and they realize it's just memorabilia, like, it's just family treasures and nothing actually worth money. And they're like, where's the money? He's like, oh, like, in banks. But this was kind of a similar thing. Like, their vault was just family heirlooms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then it
I
also
was
led to real treasure.
confused by that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, you only see the treasure for like a second. It seems like this weird parallel dimension. I was kind of unclear about whether it was real or not.
Yeah, same.
But it seems like it is real because for the rest of the movie, he's trying to get back to it. And for somebody that's like trying to memorize the path, he didn't do a very good job. He like remembered which book you're supposed to take out of the bookcase, but he forgot which lever.
Which chain to pull, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of hard to figure out.
Yeah,
There
they
was a
did.
lot.
They did kind of look
Oh, the
similar.
chains.
Yeah. And so little by little, you see Fester start to really like the family and start to grow fondness for them over his mother, who's overbearing and mean. Mm-hmm. And I think my favorite scene in the whole movie was when they go to the school play.
Yes.
I love that.
I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
So, like them talking to the teacher, and the teacher wants to talk to Morticia about Wednesday because she's like, oh, like we had the kids put up their heroes, and one kid put up George H.W. Bush, another put up Jane Pauley, and Morticia's like, oh, have you spoken to her mother? She's so worried that this kid worships Jane Pauley. And then it turns out that Wednesday has, like, her hero is this, like, long lost ancestor who was burned to the stake for being a witch, Calpurnia Addams. And she's like, oh, we've told Wednesday, college first.
Yeah.
The thing about this movie, I never got tired of those one-liners. There were a million little one-liners where it's just some kind of like misdirect about that, like, this family is super weird. That, like, she's talking to Gomez at one point and she was like, you were howling like an animal. Do it again. And it's like, how long has it been since we waltzed? Hours. But there's all these, like, I never got tired of it. They're like pretty formulaic, but they always, like, I found them so delightful.
Uh-huh.
I loved all of it.
When he's going, are you unhappy, my darling? And she says, completely.
Yeah. There's a strong, like, sexual current, between the two of them. I mean,
yeah.
like, it's like every single scene they're about to bone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they've got kind of a BDSM thing going.
That's right, because wasn't there? I guess it should be expected,
Yeah.
The whole family pain is pleasure.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But coming back to the school play, so Fester has, like, trained them to do this fight scene really well. And so everybody else in the school play is like singing flowers and it's very like bright and happy. And then you see Wednesday and Pugsley do their scene and it's like a Shakespearean sword fight where it's incredibly serious. And they start slashing at each other. And there's like all this prop blood spraying all over the audience. And everybody's horrified.
That scene reminded me a lot of the Full Monty. It's just the way it's squirting out.
Oh, you and that Academy Awards.
that was in 97.
I just loved it, like just how horrified everybody. And like I love beforehand, like when you see Gomez watching all the flowers thing and he looks so angry and bored. And then when you see his kids sword fighting and all the blood, he just like looks rapt and he's just so delighted with the whole thing.
Proud father.
I was thinking about that in terms of when we were talking about like the orientation videos in
Being John Malkovich.
from Being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
And Xena was saying like when you're sitting watching those things, it's like you're kind of looking around like, is anybody else seeing what I'm seeing? What is this? What is going on? And that's kind of like it feels like that's sort of the vibe of the flowers singing. It's like, why are we sitting here watching this?
And then we come to the party. Like they threw this big Halloween party. Is it a Halloween party? It's just everybody's in costume.
No, it's for Fester. It's Fester's going away party.
Oh, right. But people are in costume.
I don't know. Are they?
Yeah, we're seeing like lots of other people.
Gomez was dressed up like a Russian Cossack or something. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And then
I thought that was just for the dance.
Maybe he might have changed costumes. Did he?
He did change outfits. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but maybe I'm mixing. Is there a different Halloween party?
There's a different time where it's Halloween.
Oh, maybe that's what. Maybe I'm
and
getting
the
that
kids
confused.
come to the door and they.
Oh no! There's a part I remember where so I'd completely forgotten about Cousin It. It's
Right.
just like this little creature that's entirely covered in hair. Yeah.
he belonged in like the Star Wars bar.
Right.
I mean, do that again. That's exactly. Yeah, he was.
I loved Cousin It as a kid, and I can't believe I totally forgot about him. And I dressed as Cousin It for Halloween once. I just like loved that character so much.
Been hot.
Well, I think maybe Dad didn't, but I think we all dressed up as the Addams.
Oh, did we? What were you? Were you
Morticia.
Oh, you were Morticia.
I was I was like 2, and Mom dressed me as Morticia.
And Mom was Fester, right?
Mom dressed up as Uncle Fester. That was years later, though.
Oh.
Oh
Wait, so
my
what was
God,
Mom?
that sounds so good.
What's
Oh, was it
that?
just the two of us dressed up?
I don't know. I
What
don't
was Mom
remember
that first year?
I know that I have a very distinct image in my head. I can see a picture of, I think, Dad dressed as a mummy holding me, and I'm dressed as Morticia.
Oh, okay.
And then I don't remember seeing a picture of you dressed as Cousin It, but Mom dressed up as Uncle Fester not that long ago. It was like maybe 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Mom, call in and tell us what everybody was at that Halloween.
But I think I have a picture of Mom dressed as Uncle Fester that maybe I can post to our Instagram.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, that party, like, where you get introduced to Cousin It, which I loved. Because there's a part, I thought it was that party where, like, Cousin It is wearing, like, a cowboy hat. And people are like, oh, everybody keeps asking Cousin It where he got his costume. And Gomez is like, well, it is a good hat.
Oh.
Like, he doesn't understand that people think that the
is.
hair is part of the costume.
Oh, I missed that.
I also didn't understand that. That's later on.
Oh, I
'Cause
guess I'm
Cousin
mixing
It-
my parties.
Yeah, the first party, Cousin It doesn't dress in a costume.
Oh, okay.
And that's where Cousin It and that lady, the lawyer's
Oh, yeah.
friend?
Wife.
Who is she? Oh, she's the wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
She falls for Cousin
Yeah.
It.
Hard.
Right, because she's talking about like her marriage problems
Right,
to Cousin It.
Yeah.
And Cousin It's so understanding, going, me, 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 me.
It's an emotional connection.
Yeah. He's like an emotional support cousin.
Oh.
So they do that dance. What was the dance called?
Mamushka.
Mamushka.
Yes,
Mamushka,
yeah.
Mamushka.
Which somehow Uncle Fester knows all the moves
He
to.
knows all
Yes.
of it. He did
Yeah,
such a good Mamushka.
It was very good.
And at that point, he's like pretty dead set against his mom and like wants to be in the
But you
family.
know what? In the end, it makes sense that he knew the Mamushka.
Why?
Because it was muscle memory. He is Uncle Fester.
Well, we'll talk about. I have questions about that. So yeah, they have that party, and then Wednesday realizes that Uncle Fester is definitely a phony. Like she sees They were like very cavalier all the time.
Very,
in the house, just like speaking without their accents, and Fester let his hair grow out. And
There were so many times they walked out the front door together and he was like, "Mother."
right.
Yeah.
Like, you guys just,
They
it's not that hard to pull this off. You just have to not do this right at the house where you're trying to trick people. So, but
Scam 101.
Wednesday figures it out. And then doesn't really tell anybody. She like runs and hides in the cemetery. And then when they
She
all
just goes takes a nap.
Yeah, somehow there's not, yeah.
when they go to find her, then the lawyer does his other plan, which is to get the judge to agree to put a restraining order on all of Addams and give the house to Uncle Fester, who's they are claiming is the oldest son. And so the Addams get forced out into the real world, which I enjoyed. So you're just like seeing everybody try to adapt and get kind of normal person jobs. And Morticia is a kindergarten teacher. And
They're all crying.
she's telling the story of Hansel and Gretel, but from the perspective of the witch and like how cruel the kids were to push her in the oven. And then, yeah, that's when we see the lemonade stand that Wednesday
And the kids are crying. Were you guys surprised at how believable those kids were crying?
No, I was thinking back to Kindergarten Cop and being like, wow, all these kids had to do was like one scene where they cry and they're all terrible. And Kindergarten Cop, they were the whole movie and they were great. So, but you thought the crying was
I thought
good.
that they did a good cry.
I believe.
There
I thought it
was
was bad
there
cry.
was one kid in particular that I was like, they punched that kid. For sure.
I think I'm just spoiled by Kindergarten. I was like, you can't top Kindergarten Cop.
Great
I don't think
movie.
Kindergarten Cop had come out yet, but I was still like,
Oh my god,
don't even
Kindergarten
try.
Cop. What a good movie.
Yeah.
Gosh. Those
I like how we
kindergartners.
just more and more we spend each of our episodes of the podcast just talking about other movies.
Let's talk about multiplicity though.
And so the other thing I liked about when they're all in the real world is Gomez just becomes a depressed dad and is sitting home all day watching Sally Jesse Raphael.
Oh, God, yeah, that. He calls in.
Yeah, he calls in and she's
Multiple
like,
times.
Gomez, stop calling. I'm not going to tell you where the cults meet. I love that. And I really like everything where you see the Addams interact with real people. So like Morticia's talking to the job placement lady. And
My thought when he like was in his depressed stage was like, oh, he's just acting like a normal person, like sitting around watching TV all day, you know, instead of like torturing people. I was like, oh gosh, poor Gomez.
yeah, so somehow like they capture Morticia. They like put her in this torture device, which was like sort of weird because they know that the Addams love being tortured.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think it kind of worked anyway. Like we kind of buy that there's tension that they're like going to try to torture her. Yeah. And so like Gomez comes back and fights her off and then they like take out a gun and they're going to force him to go down to the vault. But then Fester turns against his mother and rescues all the Addams. And they sort of, they catapult the lawyer and the mother into graves and just bury them alive.
Oh, that was like the first deaths of the movie, right? When they bury people alive. Assumed deaths. We don't really see what happens.
Right.
But
Well, they have to eventually die. But there is that line, I think Pugsley asks Wednesday, do you think they're dead? And she's like, does it matter?
That's dark.
Yeah, it's a great Wednesday line. And then you see it cuts to like 7 months later, and
which is Halloween?
I guess that's Halloween.
Yeah, and because the trick or treaters are coming and they want to play their Halloween game. They want to play a family game all together.
They all
Everyone's
take up
gathered. Cousin It is there with
When Pugsley's dressed as Uncle Fester.
Oh, yeah,
oh
that's
my
very
god, that's so
That's so cute.
Yeah.
But you were saying Cousin It is there with the
lawyer's
wife.
wife.
with the
The lawyer's
lawyer's
wife.
wife.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they're very happy together.
Yeah.
So how did you guys interpret the end?
Right.
Is
so the end.
Fester really Fester, or is he a guy that kind of looks like Fester that they've accepted as Fester?
I think it's Fester.
You think it's Fester?
Yeah.
Zena, what do you think?
So the mamushka is a big factor in pointing towards its real Fester. Because
Right.
how else would he know that? But I felt that it was an ambiguous ending. That
Right.
you couldn't really tell
Right.
whether it was the real Fester or not.
Right.
Like, how did he forget to unlock the Chinese finger trap?
Yeah.
I think they made it kind of clear.
I think they were trying to make it ambiguous. Like, I think they're making it, he's probably not really Fester, but they're, because there's some things that like point to he is Fester. Like he can light the light bulb with his mouth, which you would imagine the regular
Right.
person.
Oh, yeah. So
that's because of the lightning.
What?
He got struck by lightning.
Oh, that's
which
just
was
a thing.
part of. Wait,
That's just a thing that is because like anybody could have done that.
Yeah.
But the real Fester got struck by lightning, and like the way back in the day, and so this maybe imposter could still light it up. So I thought that was evidence that it was the real Fester.
What?
So he can grow hair, and the real Fester couldn't. So
He couldn't?
How do you know he can grow
bald.
hair?
Because at one point his mom is shaving his head.
Yes. Remember that part to keep it going.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But like they're like he was found with amnesia, so it's like maybe I think it's kind of the way I interpreted it is like everybody knows it's probably not him, but they're like, but there's a chance, so we accept him as Fester.
Maybe he started using Rogaine.
thought he really
or something.
was.
Maybe it was.
I know at the time of watching it, I didn't think it was because I remember wondering, and before we began the podcast, I was wondering what did happen to the actual Fester.
Yeah.
But that's kind of strange because if it's not going to be, if they're going to have it not be the real Fester, then that's a big thing to leave hanging out there for a movie like that.
Yeah.
I thought that the lightning helped him to remember that that he really was Fester.
Yeah, they're saying that, but I think it was kind of like I felt like you see him kind of be like still kind of going along with it, like yeah, it helped
Now
me.
I know what you guys mean when you say this movie's hard to follow.
Yeah.
I'm totally confused.
And then the very end is Morticia reveals that she's pregnant because she's making a little baby outfit for a baby with 3 legs or like 3 tentacles.
How did she know it was going to have 3 legs?
She just knows.
The ultrasound. They had ultrasounds back in the 90s.
Should we move on to the mom game?
Mom game. Mom game.
Chris has a lot of notes.
Oh, Chris.
Did we cover all of your notes?
I think we should just say that Chris has 8 pages of notes scattered about in front of him on the table.
A lot of them are referring to like specific scenes. I mean,
They're referring to other notes.
see page 2. Then page 2 says see page 3. This note says, where's DCF? 90s Devil's Rejects. Christina Ricci's Big Head.
Mud pie ice cream.
He's got mud pie on his notes. We ate ice cream, mud pie flavored ice cream.
That's really bugging me because I can't remember why I would have, because I didn't write down strawberry, but we had strawberry ice cream.
You starred it. You put a big star next to it.
Yeah, that's bizarre because I didn't, like I said, I didn't write anything down about the
He wants a smoke machine.
You thought we had a mud pie.
Yeah, I remembered how cool smoke machines were when you were a kid. It was oh my god, I gotta have one of those. And now they're still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, these are so
all right, let's do mom game.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna play the mom game, and the way this works is I've asked my mom to describe a series of movies without saying the title. Often she did say the title, and I had to cut that out.
Describe a
movie. So I would give her the title of a movie, and she has to describe it to somebody, like reminding them what the movie's about.
Okay.
And so the game is the first person to name the title of the movie that she's describing wins a point.
Okay.
But Rachel has a huge advantage here because she knows what movies mom has seen. So to even it out, Xena and Chris can make unlimited guesses. And like when you get it right, then you win. Rachel gets 1 guess.
Are the guesses ordered? Like, is there, or is it just shout out?
Whoever like buzzes in. So yeah, just like say like buzz when you want to make a bet.
She describes a movie. We guess what movie it is.
Yeah.
The title.
Yeah. Gotcha. So just say like buzz when you want to make a guess, and I'll pause the clip so you can.
And it's not always gonna be.
It's not always gonna be accurate. Okay. You can't expect it all. You're interpreting it what my mom thought of.
So you could be right. So we could be right and wrong at the same time.
Sure.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Best of both worlds.
This is the first time on Dusty VCR that we are attempting to play audio while we're recording. So this is a big experiment.
First time for everything.
So let's see if this works. All right. So this is the first clip.
It's with Gwyneth Paltrow, and she plays this very overweight woman, but somehow I forget the guy's name.
Hal.
Yeah. Wait, so why are you waiting? Rachel's...
Oh, I thought I was supposed to wait.
No, you can say it as soon as you know it, but you only get 1 guess.
I knew immediately.
Okay.
Shallow Hal.
Okay.
Wait, Kristen Buzz, Shallow Hal.
Oh, god damn it.
I get the point.
I'm going to give this one to Chris.
My buzzer wasn't working, okay?
You saw me know it, though.
I did, so you know it.
Can I get a replacement buzzer?
So that's 1 point.
I want to give everybody else a chance.
Yeah. See if I can.
Wait, I want to hear the whole her whole description.
Okay. This is the rest of it.
But he somehow is in some kind of spell where he sees her as gorgeous and thin, and he doesn't realize that she's overweight.
So that's
Shallow Hal.
That's the
Yeah.
whole
This
thing.
is
okay. So this is the next one.
It's like a coming of age movie where the guy, what's his name's in it? Eugene Levy's in it. He plays
American
the
Pie.
father.
Yep. American Pie. You didn't get it?
American Pie?
No, I didn't know it.
damn this buzzer.
We'll play the rest of it.
And then the son, I don't remember. He's got that curly hair, very Jewishy looking, and it's a coming of age. All I remember is he does it with an American. He has sex with an American pie, an apple pie.
Oh man, it's a good thing we didn't win.
I think we should say our mother is Jewish.
Yes. It's okay. All right. Ready for the next one?
I think it's with Janine Garofalo and
Cats and dogs.
Yep, that's your guess. Your guess is cats and dogs?
Truth about cats and dogs. Fuck. I'm sorry.
I'll give that to you. Okay, we'll hear the rest of it.
Are in it, and I think Uma Thurman she's a vet or something. And
Janine Garofalo
I don't
is actually
remember too much about the movie,
expert.
but yeah, those two are in it, and I don't remember what they do.
She's great. Your mom's great.
Yeah, this is fun to record. Okay, you ready for the next one?
A group of guys, they get together, they want to have some kind of fun, like cowboy experience, and they go out west. And so they just learn how to...
Buzz, City Slickers.
Yes. I'm surprised it took you guys that long.
I haven't seen City Slickers.
All right. Well, it has your favorite host, your favorite Academy
Billy
Awards
Crystal.
host.
Yeah.
And all the adventures that they have as being city people. That guy, Stuart, the guy who, even though he's old at the Academy Awards, he did those like one-handed push-ups or something.
Was that your Academy Awards?
I don't remember that from the 70s, no. 70s.
Billy Crystal's in it, and the guys from, they're supposed to be from Ben and Jerry's, but it's like these duos that, I can't remember their name. I don't know.
What?
There's like, in City Slickers, there's two guys that are like kind of Ben and Jerry, but there's like Ben and Jeremy or something. It's like they didn't use the name Ben and Jerry, but they're these two guys that sell ice cream. Here's the next one.
It's these animals, these creatures that appear if you like they invade somewhere. I don't even remember.
Ooh, that was good. How'd you get that?
But like there were certain rules, like you can't let them out at night or you can't get them wet, and these little creatures that would come around. I don't even remember what they did.
I don't even remember what they did.
When did you record this?
Last week.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Is that with the seal? Okay, so...
Oh, Andre.
Yes. Okay, wait. And there's a favorite feature of this one.
It's a story about a kid. I don't even remember. The seal's name is... Oh, so that's the name of the movie. So it's a story about a kid. It was a boy or a girl that has a relationship with a seal. He lives by the kid, either the female kid or the male kid.
The male kid or the female kid.
And he ends up having a friendship with a seal.
Okay. Zena, you're behind.
I believe it's a sea lion.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm quite behind.
Yeah, you gotta...
Are you keeping track, Michael?
No.
I think I've seen
it's like 3 and 3.
of these movies. This is a hard game.
Yeah. I was actually sad when I was putting this together because I was like, I would destroy at this game. I feel like I'd be really good at it. But then we should have it like Xena edits them and then I can...
Yeah, you can have my points though. If you want.
Okay. All right. Here's the next one.
It's a musical where a piano player,
Piano Man.
Nope.
the male lead is That's a very famous person, and
Elvis
I can't
Presley?
remember his name.
No.
And the female is a very famous person, and I can't remember her name. And they kind of fall in love, and
Through
they
dancing.
do
Nope.
like stuff that they do in musicals, dancing and stuff like that.
The Music Man?
Nope. You guys all know this movie.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Nope.
Sound of Music?
It's a musical where they do things in musicals.
Cats.
No. It came out in the last 4 years.
Chicago?
No.
Oh, La La Land?
Yes, La La Land.
I didn't know we were doing new movies.
Some new movies.
I saw La
He
La
didn't.
Land.
Wait, she didn't know who Ryan Gosling was?
I know. I was surprised.
Mother.
Yeah, I know.
He's great.
Yeah. Okay. This is one of my favorites.
I don't even know if I've seen parts of this movie, but it's that kind of crazy movie where like they do like weird things. The main character, I forget his name, but he's Phoenix, not River Phoenix. It is River Phoenix? No.
Stand By Me.
No.
It's the same guy.
My Own
that
Private
was
Idaho.
in Parenthood movie.
Close.
But I don't know his name. And like the special effects were like amazing because he could like
The Matrix?
like
Yes. Did you catch the Parenthood?
Yes,
How's
that's
that?
how I figured it out,
She said
actually.
it was the same guy that was in Parenthood movie, which is Keanu Reeves.
That was great.
sideways and stuff. Just I remember the guy flipping over something in midair.
That was the Matrix. So I think it's 4-3, Rachel. Okay.
I think it's with Seth Rogen or
Knocked Up.
some of those.
Wait. What'd you say?
Hangover.
Yes.
Oh.
Hey,
That's
hey,
not even
hey.
right.
I know.
No,
Yep.
you guys are thinking wrong in the same
You're
way.
both thinking incorrectly.
Seth Rogen is not in The Hangover.
Right.
Oh my god.
But you're right,
Me
that's
and
what-
Sue.
That should be 2 points.
Wait, so let me play the clip.
I think it's with Seth Rogen or some of those Seth Rogen guys that like do a lot of comedy together, and they go to. I don't know if there's another one where they go to Vegas and they have all these adventures, and they obviously get drunk and have a hangover, but
You guys would have gotten it by that point.
Seth Rogen's not in that?
No. Bradley Cooper.
And
Zach
Zach
Galifianakis.
Galifianakis.
Oh, yeah.
You'll notice, I don't know how many of them I kept in, but in a lot of them, Mom describes the movie as people had adventures.
her name, I can't remember her name, but she was in Grey's Anatomy, the blonde. Anyway, it's about, I think
Knocked
it's
Up.
about some,
Nope.
I was.
it's from the perspective of a woman who's always a bridesmaid, I think.
Bridesmaids.
Or it could be that I'm thinking,
But that was close. Would you have gotten it if you didn't use up your guess? Did you forget that you only had one guess?
No, I think I don't think I would have gotten it.
Okay, let's hear the rest.
the one where she's wearing a lot of bridesmaids dresses or whatever. But I believe there's a scene in there that I really don't like where they eaten something and they all have diarrhea.
I love that scene. I love that. When she poops in the middle of the road.
All right.
Oh,
I think Xena's gonna get this one. Xena could get this one.
look away.
Get ready, Xena.
Xena has a special advantage here. Okay, ready?
I think it's like this scary movie that's made
Beetlejuice?
to seem like it was made by like a individual,
Blair Witch
independent,
Project.
like not even a filmmaker, but like a new filmmaker. But I don't think it really was, but like they're with flashlights and they show their faces and people used to do spoofs on it all the time.
But I liked they have flashlights. They show their faces. Okay, this is the last one. I think it's 4-3-2, Rachel. So
My unfair advantage was I was in the Blair Witch Project.
I was just gonna
yeah,
ask.
yeah.
No kidding. What?
She showed her face.
Really?
Yeah,
If I rewatch it, I can find you.
yeah, totally.
you're the witch.
That's wild.
Yeah, there's a scene where there's this naked old crotchety woman running around the woods. That's me.
You were joking. Okay. Were you joking?
Okay, so this is the last one. This is
It's with Goldie Hawn and
Overboard.
yep.
Oh yeah.
That was good. All right. The end of this is also one of my favorite of the clips. So we'll
I don't remember the guy's name. and she's incredibly wealthy and living on a yacht. And he's a handyman, and she's obnoxious to him. And then she ends up like falling in the water.
So I don't know if you can hear it in her voice. She was so excited to avoid saying overboard. She was like, kind of stuff. She ends up falling in the water. So I think the final score was 5-3-2. So good mom game, everybody. Well played.
Congratulations, Rachel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You get 1 trophy.
All right, so let's do the Whoops rating. So the Whoops is how many Whoops we give this movie. And for Chris, if you've heard previous episodes, you know that the Whoops aren't really out of a particular thing. It's just whatever your heart tells you. So as is tradition, we start with Xena. So how many Whoops would you give the Addams Family?
I think I got 3 solid whoops.
3 solid Whoops. Okay, cool. Any particular reason for those 3 Whoops?
Any particular reason?
Yeah.
Well,
Or a non-particular reason.
just, all the things.
All the things.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. Rachel, how many Whoops?
2,000 whoops.
2,000 Whoops. Okay. So what was your previous... Was Multiplicity 50 million at last count?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, no, I think it was 49 million. The thing that's gotten the most whoops. Yeah.
No. Wait.
Yeah, the thing that's gotten the most whoops is Xena's score for being John Malkovich, which got 50 million
50
whoops.
million whoops.
And then you readjusted Multiplicity to be 49 million whoops.
That's right.
So not better than Xena's score.
That's
but
right.
Just still. So this is 2,000 relative to 49 million.
Yes.
It's okay. So respectable, but not amazing.
Yeah.
So I've been doing them out of 10. I would say I'd give this 5 whoops. There were a lot of things I really loved about it. I loved Morticia. I loved Christina Ricci.
It's a failing score.
It's a failing score, but yeah, like there was about half of it I thought wasn't so good.
Wow.
Performances were great. Maybe not such a great script, but yeah, that's just the way that the whoops go sometimes.
Okay.
And so Chris, what were your whoops?
I'm gonna give it a 3.14 whoops because I love pie.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's why you wrote that down.
Wait. Oh, maybe.
So in closing, Chris, do you have anything you want to promote? Do you want people to come see your upcoming stand-up performance at some point?
Please no.
Please no.
No.
You're getting fired soon. Have you already gotten fired?
I haven't gotten fired yet. Rachel, do you want to comment on that?
So Chris is, Chris and I work together, and he had a job that was contracted for 1 year, but now he's transitioning into this other position at the same company, but no one has really made that transition happen. And suddenly in the org chart, Chris is under me in the org chart.
Chris is the president.
Chris is the president.
I just talked to him yesterday.
Yeah. So I guess it's on me to fire you at this point.
That's why you said that earlier. I didn't know why you said that you're my current supervisor. I didn't know because I don't think anyone ever told me that that's how I was in Datus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all of your interactions from now on will be on this podcast.
That's right.
Your professional interactions.
I do want to plug for the upcoming 70th annual Academy Awards.
Oh, sure.
It's going to be a great show. Billy Crystal's hosting.
Yeah.
And
still on your VHS. You'll have to come to your house.
A lot of good movies. We'll see who takes home the Oscar for Best Picture.
Yeah, I'm hoping for as good as it gets.
Well, if that happens, that's as good as we could expect.
Right.
What does that mean?
Xena and Rachel, do you guys have anything you want to promote?
Just mud pie ice cream.
Oh yeah.
Swimming holes.
Swimming holes. Some swimming holes. Oh, Lithia Springs.
Oh yeah.
It's close to you.
Oh,
you
really?
should go sometime.
I should check it
Watch out for Larry, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dog mouth out there.
Yeah.
Sweat.
Gotta watch out for that
fucking
dog
mouth.
Yeah, drool.
All right. So you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Dusty VCR or our website at dustyvcr.com. So that's all. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
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 Bye.